What's up, everybody? Welcome to Awakening Highest Potential. Welcome back. If you're new, thank you for joining us. And if you're returning, I appreciate you guys so very much. Today is one of those nights, right? So this video is about appreciating yourselves so you appreciate your journey, whatever it looks like, wherever you are on your journey. Even if you're standing alone, even if you're living in an abandoned building by yourself with no materials, right? With no job, no 9-to-5 job, right? If you're living outside of society's box, if you're creating your own world, if you're living for yourself, you're starting to question things, right? You're seeking your own truths. You're spiritually awakening. Your consciousness is growing, right? You're starting to awaken and remember and learn how vast you are. And so none of the material things matter like they once did, right? And so here I am on that very journey, this journey, right here and now, being who I was meant to be, right? Not enslaved and working 9-to-5. I live every day trying to not recapture, that's not a right word, trying to obtain and to be free, right? Freedom or death, right? I was helping some friends clean their house the other day. Right. So concerned for me, so much love, so much concern for me being on the streets right now during my journey, right? Because I'm so nice, so compassionate, so kind, and it gets taken advantage of, right? It gets mistaken for naivety or weakness, right? And so when people first encounter me, they're worrisome, they're in fear, they're confused, they don't understand, they don't know how I live like I live, doing what I do. Right? And I simply tell them, people talk about faith, but I live faith, right? Not knowing what's next because I live for the moment. I live in the now. And if it moves my heart for my higher purpose, for the whole, then I go, right? But until then, I work on myself. I don't chase the money. I don't chase the relationships. I don't chase the people. I don't chase the friends no more to help them. Had to let them all go. I used to chase all my friends, right? Because in another lifetime, I know I resonated with them as discipleship. But now I have to learn that they grow in their own time, right? And me being the empath and the sensitive being that we are, I am so in tune to energies that I absorb energies. And so I have to be able to let people go, right? That are not on the same lessons that I am. Let's say that, right? Because we're all even, we're all equal. But somebody might be over here for a life lesson, or I might be on this experience, right? I live for the experiences. That's how we learn, you guys. When we stay isolated for too long, we get detached from society. We get detached from other people. We don't know how to communicate, right? That's the thing. We're always on these devices these days, right? And so we can't communicate. We can't sit down to talk to each other. And it's like, we have to be able to communicate, right? And all of this hatred and judgment that's coming through with these energies, because we've got the energy shifts, right? I study so much in my alone time, right? Not just the celestial bodies of planetary shifts that create these different energies that come to us, through us, around us, all encompassing. But there's so many different other aspects, right? So many other different books, so many different other faiths, so many different other cultures, so many different other people, so many different other experiences to experience, right? And so where I am today is not where I'm going to be tomorrow and where I'm going to be in 5 months. But I don't need to sit down right? And do the old way where it's like, so what's your 5-year plan? I don't have a 5-year plan. All I know is I want to help people. I want to help the world. I want to change my world internally, therefore changing the world around me as much as possible. That's all I know. All I know is I know on a soul level that I was meant to be here to raise the vibrations and bring the light. That's all I know. That's all I know. So if you ask me what my 5-year plan is, that's it. I'm going to be adding value, spreading the light, spreading my energy, spreading my value, spreading my love, and exposing everyone to my light and my heart, because that is my purpose. And tonight, which is Wednesday, technically, August 14th is 2:13 a.m. And I was tired. I was in my room, in the back room in this abandoned building, right? And I was listening to these motivational videos because, like I've said before, when you're on a journey, sometimes you're not around friends that know where you are. So when you're in this phase of feeling misunderstood, everybody at some seek own truths to fulfill your higher purpose will feel misunderstood at one point or another, because we are all uniquely different. We're supposed to be different. We're supposed perspectives. That's the beauty of it. But that's why we're supposed to communicate and experience and share what we believe, what we conceive, what we want to achieve, right? And so in order to do that, this day and age, you have to do things outside of the box. So sometimes it looks a little unconventional. There's no reward without risk, right? So I question things. Like I grew up on the Bible, right? Christian. In the Bible, if we had it as such in the Bible, this is going to stir up some controversy, but in the Bible, it says that if they ate an apple, right, from the tree of knowledge, right, the tree of life, if they ate the apple from the tree, that they would die, right? But God showed them mercy. When they ate the apple, the serpent got them to eat the apple, the whole sin thing, right? That's all perspective. When the snake came and the serpent came and enticed them with the apple to expose them, aka teach, they would have never learned. They would have been limited. They would have only had what they were given. And this day and age, when people live like that, that is why I have encountered so many other different people, men, women, kids, teenagers, adults, older people. Like in this situation now, that's why I'm in this building particularly, was because I was helping an older person that is resonating with that story from the Bible. You get what you're given and that's it, right? Because in the Bible, it says that you're sinning if you eat the apple and you obtain knowledge and you're exposed, like you're exposed to more, to a different perspective, to other things other than what you were given or shown or taught. Then how, therefore, do you carry on a legacy to teach if you didn't learn anything and you were just handed things, right? And so this process of living that way is not working for us. It's not working for us, you guys. It's not. It's enabling us. I have seen so many people so enabled, right? I'm in this situation now because I was trying to teach a girlfriend how to fish so she could eat for the rest of her life, as opposed to giving her a fish, right? Gimme. That's all people do. And then how to scheme and get money from the next person while they're getting money from their parents, or how, you know what I'm saying? Like putting other people down for struggling or not having much monetarily or their own place, but then they're living with their parents and they're almost 40. It doesn't make sense. These are the things that we're living. We are still in this bondage. We're still in this negative way of perceiving that which happened to us. We have to change the way we view things so we can have no limits. We can be limitless and vast as we are meant to be. We have been suppressed. We've been suppressed. If you go back and look at the history and the stories that you're told, right, that we've been told, that have been written, that have been shared and passed on, Everything is the same with the patterns, right? The stories are the same of enslaving, right? Of bondage, of oppression, of suppression, of, Mother Earth and women being abused, owned, trafficking. Look at it. The history is still the same with all of us. So if we don't continue to look at things differently now, which some of us are because we're awakening to perceive things in our own perspective and hearts, right? And not to just be led and told one thing. We have to make sure it works for all of us. Because if one person is slipping, then we're all slipping. Because that means if this is our society, our world, where did all of these come from? All these rules and regulations and control, right? It's a control. That perspective was to control us. So we've got to step outside of that. So when I went to go help my friends clean their house, right? Because they had so many different materials that they were getting rid of, but yet I'm looked at it as impoverished because of my journey. But the beauty of it, that's their perspective. This is my perspective. My perspective is to add value, right? To purify the land again, to purify the people again, to purify the businesses again, so that we flourish, not just for myself and get me a big old house that I can't afford, living outside my means for myself and me alone, and getting all these things that I'm not even going to care about and that somebody else is going to have to clean up. And, that's the perspective. Can you perceive things my way now? I'd rather be in an abandoned building, conditioning myself, going without intentionally so that I can strengthen my core. So I can go without. I'm not depriving myself. I choose to go without because I know it raises my consciousness and it raises my vibrations to go without. Because that means I am not in need. I am not in want. So when I do want something, it comes, right? Because I'm not scattered. I'm not just selfishly wanting things just because I can have it. It's unnecessary. So these are the things that I have to step away from and really analyze while I'm in my solitude, because these things, while people are perceiving me and judging me for my breakdown to have my breakthrough, many of us can say that lots of people have breakdowns, but not all of them have breakthroughs. So in order to have my breakthrough, I have to be by myself, because in the history of control and slavery, bondage, right? Force, ownership, control, all of that takes place within us if we don't do a human revolution within ourselves to reprogram what has been instilled in us all these lifetimes, right? So therefore, I chant because it reprograms. Look it up. Buddhas that they have done tests on shows that when you chant, you reprogram your mind, right? You're not stuck in fundamental darkness and delusions, right? Causing chaos wherever you go, because really you haven't become aware that the chaos around you is within. So you're still carrying on the negative seeds from past lifetimes, right? To this lifetime, because you're unaware that the chaos around you is because of you within. Not because of this ex doing this or you saying you're naive. No, at some point you have to have accountability for yourself, for your life, the choices that you choose to make. Because at the end of the day, if you don't, then you're just going to be one of the sheeple led with the masses. And then you're going to be trying to control other people because it's being done to you, right? So in questioning things, it's not just to be defiant or be a rebel just because. If you're going to break a law, if you're going to question things, if you're going to go against the grain and the current and do things differently, let it be for the right causes. Let it be to help all. Let it be to correct and amend what is not working for all. And that's what I'm doing. right? I question things. Like before, I was driving with no insurance because on my spiritual journey, right? I didn't get paid. Like there were some instances where I babysat for some girls, right? That had a lot of kids that I felt needed my presence at that time, and they didn't pay me. My insurance lapsed. I was driving, I was good, because anytime I moved, it was for the spirit, right? It was for adding value into the world, because time, money, all that stuff, bills, all this is man-made. I live by the mystic law, and the mystic law alone. The universal laws will never change. Never. It's the unchanging truth. We all come back. It's a process, right? Whatever you want to call it, the assimilation, the matrix, right? Life and death, although energy never dies, so it's transferable. So we come back, just when we come back, and as what are the questions, right? And I did tell you guys, jumping back to the Bible story, right, of the serpent known as Lucifer, which is also AKA the bringer of light, oddly enough. And on my spiritual journey, I learned my name, Linda, means serpent in Old Germanic. Imagine that. And from numerology and the stars align and all that good stuff, I'm a life path 7, which means sage. And I was born on May 7th, which is being born on the 7th. That's another spiritual vibration, 7. So I'm like a double, triple dose of spirituality. So that makes sense, because when I got on stage to do comedy, people were like, you're funny, but I think you're kind of like a spiritual leader or something. Like people were picking up that essence within me, because that's just my past lives showing through me, right? And other people recognized it. So these are the things, like, if you look for it, and I've resonated with one of my past lives, Nichiren Daishonin. Daishonin was the name he gave himself, which means sage. I was life path 7. I am life path 7, which is the energy of a sage, oddly enough. Linda, the new age sage, erasing all the rage, right? And so these are the times when I have to be by myself, because that's what I do. I be studying everything: numerology, religion, faith, Buddhism, everything, the planets, energy, right? Reading a lot of books. And then on top of that, all the other things that I want to be doing for myself, for my higher cause, which is, researching 501c3s, which are charities, nonprofits, right? Nonprofit businesses that I want to start up. My Buddha Vibes business, which is what I'm wanting to make a 501c3 in order to invest in the community, right? To put it back into the community. So where I am now, which is an abandoned building, which I'm not ashamed of. I'm not ashamed of it, because I'm working towards things that people can't see, because I don't talk about it, because I'm doing it. I'm busy doing it. So if I get to sit and talk to you and mention it, like, it's rare, right? Because most times when I'm talking to people, sadly, I hate to say it because I don't want to be negative, but not everything is sunshine and roses, because of the polarized opposites. Where there's good, there's going to be bad. So when I'm focused on all of this good and outputting it, and I'm trying to teach and spread the word and to correct erroneous ways within myself first, and then within others, when I see it happening, because I've learned it, I've lived it, I've experienced it. So I'm only passing on what worked for me, right? And so when I do that, other people don't want to hear it, because people don't like criticism about themselves. A lot of people don't like facing within, right? So not only on top of that, though, like, a lot of people end up getting, unfortunately, jealous, right? So instead of trying to apply what works, trying to practice new ways, instead of doing the work, they want the rewards. And then when they don't get the rewards because they're not doing the work, they want to get upset with the person that's trying to help them receive the rewards with the work, right? So I'm like the coach / mentor / drill sergeant, right? But I'm not in their face, like on top of them like a drill sergeant, because half of them don't want to even hear it, right? Half of them walk away. Half of them talk crap. Half of them have an attitude. Half of them have a really piss poor attitude, which is why half of them are in the situations that they're in. So it's not about where you are. It's about what you're doing or what you're not doing. What kind of attitude do you have? Do you have a gratitude attitude, or do you have this low magnitude attitude that's just unappreciative, entitled, all about yourself, selfish, right? So we have to be aware of this. So if you're not doing the work, you're not going to get the rewards. If you don't get the rewards, you can't get mad at nobody. It's nobody's fault. It's either do the work and get the reward, or don't do the work and don't get the reward. But don't get mad at other people, because it's really just a projection within yourself. And it's going to be really hard because nobody's going to want to be around that. One, you don't want to listen, right? But you want people to listen to you. And it's like, what you're doing is not working for you. So why do you want to tell the one person that's trying to help you get results to listen to what you're doing and try to implement your ways on that person? It's not going to happen. It's not working for you. It's not going to work for anybody else. And I for me, because I'm all about freedom and independence and freedom of expression, of being true to you. So I know, because I don't want to be told what to do or how to do it, right? Especially if it's in my own unique way. But if I see somebody that's it's not serving them any good, but mostly if it's hurting other people in the world around them, then I speak up for sure. Like sometimes people don't want to hear about themselves, so I'll mention it, right? But then when it comes to a point where it's argumentative, I have to step back, right? And give them some time. But when it's harmful or hurtful to myself or other people, I have to speak up. I have to, because then that's abuse. So not only are you not serving your higher self and your full potential, but you're also bringing other people down. That I will not allow to happen, because my purpose is to raise vibrations. So if I allow someone to bring my vibration down or abuse me or not appreciate me or disrespect me and all these lower vibrational ways of being, thinking, doing, speaking, which most people do this to themselves. So they're going to do it to other people, because if they're not appreciating themselves, speaking kindly or well about themselves, they're not going to do it of other people. And so you have to be mindful of that. And I try to tell people that and correct them, because it's really hard to be around that energy. It's really hard to be around negative energy. Because with the planetary shifts and the spiritual awakening, with Uranus in the house of Taurus, I'm a Taurus, so I sense these energies, right? I sense the raising of the energies. Like I've had headaches lately. Like on some, I've been like very tired, right? So I get tired easily here recently. Been sleeping a lot because of the raising of the vibrations and the energy, right, around the earth. And like when I'm around lower vibrations now, like even if someone's listening to like a rap song that's got like vulgar, demeaning, disrespectful lyrics in there to women or whatever, to themselves, like it really hurts my head. I'm just sitting there like, when is this going to be over? You know, like it gets really intense now, because the energy is raising on planet Earth. So if you guys don't know, you might want to look into it, because you do live on this earth with me. So it might be good to know about your home, right? Not just your house and the home you live in the shelter, but the actual planet, the living being that we live on. This wonderful, beautiful being that we're trying to have ownership over, which nobody should own, are living on, right? We should know about it. And so as the energies increase, the vibrations are going up for us, right? And so those that are awake, we know what's going on. And for those that are just now slowly awakening, it's going to be a wave process. So some of you hearing this might be experiencing it for the first time, or, you know, you might not yet, but you will. You will. You may not even know what you're experiencing, but if you're watching this, that means you're resonating with what I'm putting out. Because as the energy goes up, if you don't know what to do with it, people are going to be going crazy. I'm talking about people are losing their minds. More people are taking more drugs, right? They're finding it much harder to stay sober day to day. They have to be high because they don't know how to channel this energy that's coming in, right? And so I realized I have to help teach people this. I have to help teach people to chant and to meditate and to channel this energy, because if I get high with all these people every day, I'm going to be lost in limbo too. And I'm going to lose my mind as well, right? But just like having a doctor prescribe your drug because they say you're bipolar or you got depression or you got all these things, guess what? Those are just things that are masking what's really going on. You're not dealing with the issue, right? So I don't want to just allow people to just get high anymore because it's just masking the issues. This is what's going on. We're getting a burst of energy. I've been talking about it for months on my podcast and on my YouTube channels, on some of the videos. And these energies that are coming in, these solar flashes that have come in, right, from the sun, from the other planets, from Uranus, all different planets, which have different meanings, which have different shifts, which have different gravity pools, right? It all factors in. Just like if a moon and the gravity can control the tides of the ocean, and we're like, what, 80% water? Like, think about that. We are moved by these energies, these shifts, right? Women's periods, our menstrual cycles are controlled by the moon, right? By the lunar cycle. So everything ties in. We are all tied together. The universe is tied with us. The universe is inside of us, therefore outside of us. But you've got to see it inside yourself. And that means you got to separate yourself. And you got to be really comfortable with yourself. I mean, I'm pretty freaking comfortable with myself. I mean, look at me. I'm like really out there. I'm accepting this. I don't have to be here though. This was a valid choice to help my friend Ms. D, right? In her situation, to teach her how to fish so she could eat for the rest of her life. But the difference is they have to be willing to be open to learn, open to receive the message, the knowledge, the wisdom, the gift, the love. Right? Because if they're not open to receive, then it's going in one ear and out the other. It's going over their head. It's not even being heard because they're walking off talking shit. So then that's draining to us, right? For those that are trying to reach people like that, that's draining. So on one motivational video that I happened to catch, they advised, which is working for me, to do what you can. But at the end of the day, if your purpose is to add value and to help people, you cannot get stuck helping one person that doesn't want to even help themselves. So you plant the seed, you do what you can do, you plant the seed, and then you just go away and you let it do its own natural thing, right? Just like a flower. You water a flower. You don't stand over it. You don't sit next to it all day. It's just there. It's being, and you allow it to be. And then the flower has to do its own process, right? Another person may come and water it, right? It may die. Who knows? It's all up to that particular flower. What is it going to do? Are you going to die? Are you going to live? You're going to grow? Or are you going to wither away? And that's essentially how we have to view each other, right? Is this person going to choose to live? Because the suicide rates have gone up. As some of you know, if you've been watching me from past episodes, like my ex committed suicide 2 years ago, right? Ms. D, one of her exes, committed suicide. Another friend of mine, they knew someone that committed suicide. They tried to commit suicide. I was suicidal before, right? So these thoughts of not knowing truly who we are or our purpose, right? These are feelings of emotions. Emotions are energy that moves us forward, energy in motion, right? It's the feelings that move us. So when we're feeling lost, when we're feeling hopeless, helpless, when we're feeling confused and we don't know, we know there's more, but we don't know. And we're so lost in our struggle because we don't know. There's so much we don't know, right? And so we start feeding these lower ways. So during our spiritual ascension, it's very important just to be open to learn, right? Because when we don't know something, we don't know it. So you can't get angry at someone because they're trying to help teach you something, right? To help enlighten you, to help broaden your perspective, to help add value to your life, to give you gifts, right? Because if you don't know something, how else are you going to obtain it? You're going to wait for it to be given to you? No. Right? You're going to have a serpent come along, hi, and entice you with an apple, a treat, some wisdom, and expose you to some things. And then after being exposed to it, it's your free will. It's your choice to choose what you do with the knowledge, right? You can lead a man to water, but you can't make him drink. You can lead a woman to knowledge, but you can't make him think, right? So please start questioning things, but for the greater cause of all of us, right? Because what's not working is only going to continue to happen. And now is the time to wake up and do something with these strong spiritual energy shifts, right? Because it's time. A lot of us are waking up, right? It's just happening in waves and phases, but we're all slowly getting there. Don't worry about if you look crazy. Look at me. I was meant to be bold to put this out here. Because if I'm comfortable with this, then no matter where you are, if you're about to go through an eviction, or you're living in your car, or you're living on someone's couch, or you're, you know what I'm saying? Like you're living with your mom or dad, you have no excuses. Leaders make no excuses. And guess what? We're all leaders. Why? Because we have to lead ourselves. Who else is going to lead us? Right? So individually, we're all leaders. It's just if we choose to take the position, right? Or do you want to be led like what's been happening for generations and generations and lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes? It's not working. That perspective is not working. It's enabling more people. It's making people weaker. It's making people less resilient. It's making people less determined, right? And so then when that's like that and then they don't want to learn, guess what happens? The crime rate shoots up. Right? Because then people want instant gratification. Well, I'll just go rob this person. Oh, well, I'll just try to get over on this person. Well, I'll just try to make a few bucks off my friend, right? Even though if my friend had it, she wouldn't even charge me. But it's cool though, because that's how it's making people that aren't thinking for themselves. The system of that, the process of it, the control, the enslaving, the limiting, the bondage, right? So we have to wake up, free ourselves so we can help free other people and raise our consciousness and vibrations. Because truly what we think creates our reality. So even if you lie and you're being deceptive or you have a delusion, and you say it and you're living it, that's your delusion, right? Doesn't mean it's gonna like work for other people, right? Because I mean, we're at a very sensitive time in our lives. This point right now, there's a lot of people awakening. So there's a lot of sensitive people to energies. They're more in tune with their heart's intelligence. So they can pick up bullshit vibrations, deceptive vibrations. Friends that are acting like your friends and saying, oh yeah, I'm so happy for you. But you can hear it in their tone. You can feel it through the, like I can hear it in people's, when they say it and they say they're happy, but the way they say it in brief and then ready to let you go. You know what I mean? No celebration, no real acknowledgement, except for the little spew of fake congratulations. You know, I can feel it when it's low. Because when you start to raise your vibrations, anything lower than what you're vibrationally used to, it's going to hit you in your skin. I'm talking about to a cellular, molecular level. That's why I tell you guys, what we speak, what we think of ourselves is very important, and it impacts us. That's why a lot of people, when they're like, oh, you're so beautiful, I'm like, oh, thank you. I've never been, one for flattery and compliments like that, because I'm not superficial or into appearance. So I'm not as smitten or put off by, the compliments. But this is how I look at it. When you're raising your vibrations, when you have nothing but good intentions for all, and you want nothing but the best for all, and you even defend people who would spit on you, or you defend people that talk shit about you, that's going to give you a good heart. That's going to give you an essence within yourself that's going to exude outwardly. And you're going to just have this natural beauty and light and essence and energy about yourself, because it's of light, it's of love, it's unconditional, and it's different. So when people see it or they get around it, it's going to feel different. My presence feels differently than most people's do because of how I think. See, got confirmation. I just got more goosebumps. When something feels good, when somebody says something that's meaningful, impactful, it hits me. It feels good, right? Then when somebody disrespects me, like, is fake, phony, deceptive, it's a low kind of like uncomfortable kind of like, no, they didn't just do that feeling, right? But it's a feeling. I sense it. I've got like that clairvoyant audio, clairvoyant sense, right? I'm having to learn more about that, because I don't know too much about clairvoyance, but I've been told that, right? And so now I've been looking into that. So everything ties together. When you live these lifetimes over and over again, when energy never dies, and it's something that like you're just transferring from one thing to the next. And that's why, like in Buddhism, when you read it, it's always talking about kalpas and like the sands of the Ganges sands, like time after time, you're going through like dust particles, right? Stardust from the universe. Like, it's when you become in tune, you can literally feel like you become the law of rhythm, right? You find your own rhythm. But then you can kind of start to sense things within the universe all around you, right? You become in tune with yourself. So then you start becoming in tune with the animals. You become in tune with the other people. You become in tune with your surroundings. And so you know what's good for you. You know what's not good for you, right? So I consciously spend a lot of alone time by myself, because so many people aren't even loving themselves right. And so when I speak to them about my journey, they don't understand, and I get it. They're not going to understand. They're going to question it. So some days I don't have the energy to, stand up for what I'm doing, because sometimes I got to live it, and I'm learning and I'm doing. So I don't have time to tell people what I'm doing. Like, I'm doing it. What are you doing? How is your things over there? How are your belongings doing over there? I'm not doing these things for myself. I'm doing it for the whole. So therefore, I'm not worried about a house right now for myself, because I guarantee you, when I come upon my money, my rewards, my benefits, my fortunes from what I'm doing, right? When I reap my benefits, all of it, the very first house I'm getting is from my mama. It's for my mama, not even for me, right? And I'll just give me a little room in my mom's house and let her cook me some papaya salad and all that good stuff. I think she might do that. No, probably not. But yeah, so everything that I do is selflessly, right? But then sometimes I have to be selfish with my energy, because if I allow my energy to be drained by other people, which they will do, because they don't have any regard or awareness of what they're doing half the time, I have to be aware. I have to care. That's what self-care is. Because when nobody else is caring for you, who else is? Self. Right? So at the end of the day, I selflessly love you guys. But at the end of the day, I have to selfishly implement self-care sometimes. So sometimes I go away, and so to all my friends out there who try to call and reach out to me, which I have many friends out there who invite me over and open their spare bedrooms to me, or their couch, or their homes, and I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. And that's why I try to teach people on this journey as I encounter them. They don't have to be in these situations that they're in. They don't have to be, right? So I have to awaken them to a different perspective. You're here because you're choosing to be, because you could choose to do something else. You could choose, even if you don't want to work a 9 to 5, there's so many different outlets, so many different apps, so many different ways to make money. Like right now, I've put in for a few different positions where I will be working off my laptop, right? So, and I don't have a car right now, so I'll be working off my laptop. So you have to make a way. This is why, the old views is not working. It's enabling people, and then there's verses in there, right? There was one story, I don't remember whose story it was, but where the woman's husband died or something like that. And then she had to get passed on to the brother or something. So he would wed her and then take care of her, right? Because I don't know, something with the storyline where she had to be taken care of. So I realized in this lifetime, my purpose is also to break that of the enabling, of the being taken care of. Don't get me wrong, I'm a Taurus, okay? I'm of luxury and comfort and wealth and all that good stuff and romance and love. And I want to be spoiled. Yes, that would be nice. But I don't have to or need to be taken care of. Help is nice. But at the end of the day, if I don't get that help, who's going to do it? Me, right? And if we don't learn these lessons, we're going to continue to have trafficking. We're going to continue to have prostitution. We're going to continue to have girls that are growing up thinking they need to be taken care of because they can't be independent and think for themselves and do for themselves and bring their true self to the table. They're doing the world a disservice. So we as parents have to make sure that we're not doing our children a disservice by limiting them and making their decisions for them. My stepdad used to do that for me. And I was so sheltered and I couldn't make any decisions for myself. So then when I got kicked out at 17, right, which most girls, if they have daddy issues or were abused, when they're younger, usually tend to be either very promiscuous or end up prostituting or end up enabled, right? Well, for me, I have learned to just forgive, see the good in what I experienced by my stepdad being in my life, right? Instead of focusing on the abuse, allowing myself to be this victim, right? It conditioned me because at the end of the day, it was excessive. But at the end of the day, for a portion of the things that I got beat for, I'm now thankful because I see a lot of adults and people older than me that are struggling with these issues, like making excuses, right? Or being enabled, or having a piss poor attitude, or being disrespectful, or unappreciative, or wasteful, right? And so these things we have to learn at a younger age, hopefully. But if not, we have to start implementing it. We have to learn it because the kids that are coming up, they're resilient. They need examples, right? And so our generation, if we don't wake up and figure out what we're supposed to teach these children, where are they going to learn? We can't get mad at them. We're supposed to be their guidance. Some of the children that are coming in are more aware than some of the adults now, because some people just don't want to be open to understanding something other than what they know. But once you realize you know nothing, maybe you'll humble yourself and then be able to be open to realize, okay, I'm open to hearing their perspective so I can try to better understand and learn and become a little wiser. Because personally, I be telling people all the time, just because you're older than me, because I hang out with a lot of older people sometimes, just because you're older than me does not mean you're wiser. Because I've lived 780,000 years. I've lived a long time. I know, because everything we learn at a soul level each lifetime gets imprinted in our DNA, the Akasha records. Look it up, right? Those tie in. Everything, if you can read and go back everything is repeated in history, just in a different way. That's like the movie Groundhog Day. We wake up, we're doing the same thing over and over and over again, not just this lifetime, last lifetime. That's why I resonated with a 17th century Japanese priest, right? Spiritual. So it wasn't by chance that I grew up in a religious family, right? My godfather is a minister, right? And so we went to church regularly, right? Read the Bible, had great messages from my godfather, right? But now with some perspectives, with some other people, how they have translated it, and now how people have been led to believe with their own perspectives, are allowing themselves to be enslaved by particular ways that are not serving themselves, therefore not serving society, therefore not serving the whole. And so these things have to change, right? Because now our hearts are becoming impure, our lands are becoming impure, and our businesses. I mean, look around. There's so many different businesses there's so many empty businesses. Like, there's so many different buildings that I was like, oh my God, I just ate there the other day. This is closed, right? Because now you got people that don't want to work. Or you got people, nobody respects nobody's things. They don't even respect their own things. I'm the type of person where if I use your stuff, I'm going to treat it just like I would my own, right? Just because that's what I would want somebody to do with my things, right? I'm the type of person also not to go through people's things like that, right? So like these things I'm learning to build my value. As I spend more time alone, I'm able to detach from the world, get away from the dirt, get away from these lower ways that we've chosen to adapt to and pick up and live, right? And I have to really think about what I want to see more of and really focus on that and put it out there, right? I want to see girlfriends where they're actually real girlfriends and they're not looking at you like, hey, fake. And then all of a sudden see your dude and all of a sudden they forget you and they're going to talk to your dude. Like, wait a minute, I thought we were friends. Can I just get a real girlfriend? Or, where you're giving so kindly to someone and they're not just like looking at you saying, oh, that's it. Oh, that's all. The unappreciation or the disrespect, or like you're walking to go get somebody some food and they can't even walk with you and they're having a pissy attitude when you're walking to go get them food. You're not even getting yourself food. You're going, the purpose of the trip was for them, and then they can't even be kind. Not even a thank you. Just this, they storm off. Like, what day and age is this? Even if you want to be helpless, how you going to be helpless and rude when you're getting what you need? You're getting fed. You're getting food that you're not getting for yourself. Someone else is taking the initiative to do for you. And not only are you being disrespectful, you're being rude as hell. Like, so when I went off on somebody, there was only so much of that I could take. And that was when I had to watch these motivational videos and pull away because I love people so much. I love helping people so much that it bothers me sometimes when I can't help someone, when I can't come up with a solution. It bothers me, right? So when I watch the video, like I said, it tells you to do what you can and let it go. Plant the seed and let it go. Because at the end of the day, if they're not open to change, what more can you do? It's not your life. You can't live their life for them, nor can you take care of them. Like, that's not teaching anything to anybody. You can't teach the world to be strong and resilient and get up and get it. And then you're sitting here enabling somebody. You're not really living what you talk then. So I had to really think about that. I'm like, I'm really freaking enabling this person because I'm getting up and doing this stuff for her. And I don't even get this stuff done for me. So then that's when it really started to like wake me up. Cause I'm like, I'm not even doing this for my, like, you know what I'm saying? Like nobody's doing this for me. Right. And she's the older person. So what example is she setting? And then I'm like, then I'm following that because I'm enabling it because I'm just freely giving to someone who is not doing it for themselves, not appreciating it, not being respectful. You know what I'm saying? Nothing that's earned it, right? Like, it's not. I feed people all the time. Like, I used to carry food in my car, waters and stuff like that. And I would hand a bottle of water or snack or something to homeless people when I saw them, right? Because I feel like you can always feed someone. But when it comes to the point where you're doing it all the time, give me a cigarette, gimme, and they're smoking more cigarettes than you smoke of yours, and then like having an attitude when you say no, or when they want to be stingy and greedy, and it's that whole thought process. That's why people have to start changing the way they perceive things. Everything you think you know, you have to let it go and reprogram your mind. Free yourself. Because at the end of the day, you can only save yourself. We live, technically die, these temporary bodies, but we come back. So at the end of the day, when my ex committed suicide, I hate to say it, but when he was talking about killing himself a few times before he did, he was like, I might as well just die, or I might as well end it. And the way he was living his life and the things that he was choosing to do, which was putting himself and other people in harm's way, sadly, I honestly have to admit, I said death before dishonor. So if it comes down to it, if you're going to live your life like that, not appreciate your life with how valuable one day of life is, you got people praying for another day of life. You got people crying because they missed this person. You got people that can't even bounce back and have a breakthrough after their breakdown because they lost somebody. And then we've got people that are out here trying to kill themselves, but also like hurting other people in the could possibly endanger other people. At the end of the day, then if you're going to endanger not just yourself, you can do whatever you want to do to yourself because it's your life. I would hope you live it to the fullest, to your highest potential, to serve the whole. But if you don't, it's your life. But at the end of the day, if you're hurting other people, death before dishonor. Because then you're not serving anybody but yourself. And at the end of the day, it's going to be a very dark, desolate life you lead when you're serving yourself. I watch people do it all the time, just like now. This is the instance when the person's like, gimme. You know, but then when they get something, they hoard it. They hold on to it. They don't want to share, really. You know, it's that lack way of thinking, being, living, speaking. But when you live limitlessly, there are no limits. There is no lack. Look how vast the universe is. Look how thoughts become things. So you're telling me that when I run out of this water, it's just out. No, that means there's going to come more. So just because I don't have money right now doesn't mean that money's not going to come tomorrow. Doesn't mean it's not going to come when I need it. Because if I needed it, I'd have it. I don't need it right now. Although I have some, just a little bit. But I have more than enough. I always have more than enough. We have exactly what we need when we need it, with exactly who we're supposed to need it with, right? So sometimes our egos, our lower selves are thinking, I need money. I need these things. I need, right? And I have come to the realization on my journey is we have exactly what we need when we need it, with exactly who we're meant to have it with. And predominantly they're life lessons, because it's not materials. Materials come and go. They're replaceable. So are friends at the end of the day, unfortunately. Because at the end of the day, if you're laughing at someone else's misfortunes, which happened here recently too, I ended up like paying for an Uber. This is how I this is how I know that I can't like always hang out with females all the time, right? Because on my journey, when most girls, and I've taken prostitutes off the street and moved them into the house, you know, to help them and stuff like that, to rehabilitate or whatever, get them on their feet, doing something different to empower them, right? And so that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to lead by example, but empower with love, not judge. Most people be judging girls that are doing that, right? Especially other girls. Y'all know what you do. You know, I've been there. I used to do it. My lower self before I was evolved, right? Before I was enlightened. Oh, you gonna go talk to that hoe? Oh, you know she be, right? But then my enlightened self started to awaken and realize that I needed to help people instead of judge them. Who am I to judge somebody if I'm not helping or walking by them? And that's what I tell people. If you're not going to walk beside me or someone else that you're going to judge, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Unless you walk beside them or you even take just a little bit of your time to understand and listen, to even understand and not judge, but listen to what they went through and why they have the perspective that they do. And then maybe try to be supportive and understanding before you try to judge or tell somebody what they need in their life, right? Because sometimes what people are going through, they need that. They need that for a lesson. Like, I feel like this experience for someone was needed. Now that I've lived it and I've walked beside her, it was needed for her. You have to go without when you don't appreciate. That's why people end up losing their homes. That's why people end up losing their material things, having to throw it away because you can't appreciate it. You got too much. You're not appreciating it. That which we don't appreciate, we lose. Materials, relationships, friends, right? So when you see somebody alone, like, until you walk beside them, don't say nothing. And so that's why I take it upon myself to add value and to try to correct erroneous ways and add value in life lessons and spreading the wisdom of what I've learned to apparently even older people that haven't learned them yet, right? But I walk beside them and I don't judge. I gauge where their learning is, right? Because I'm a teacher. So I help teach people. But I have to know where their capabilities are, where their thought process is, where their mind is. But at the end of the day, if they don't want to learn, that's on them. That's on them. Everything is replaceable. Everything. We all come back. These bodies are replaceable. We're going to come back, you know? So, anywho, I just want to get on here, and no matter what you're going through, remember, stand up for who you are. Stand tall, no matter where you are. And in order to feel worthy or of value, you have to find what your purpose is. Every one of us was sent here with a gift, with gifts, right? Mine is the sage energy, right? To dispel negative energy, to be at this high frequency and to hold this vibration and spread it to those around me, right? Because energy never dies, it's transferable. So just like people of negative energy can drain you if you're not careful, people of high vibrations can kind of give people of lower vibrations headaches. But that's only meaning I'm raising your vibrations. So if you ever get around somebody that's preaching or trying to spread wisdom and you're getting a headache, that means they're raising your vibrations. Now, if you get around somebody and they're giving you a headache and it's not adding value, then it's lowering your vibration, right? So you just have to know the difference. You have to know how things make you feel. That's why alone time is important. So you know what your values are, you know what your core is, you know what you believe. And so that way when you go around other people and these values are being questioned or tested, like, you know what you stand for, right? And during this new age, this new time, I'm redefining love because I'm a Taurus. We love love. We love romance. But while I'm working on myself, I'm not going to just settle for anybody. You know, I used to be a serial dater. They say you got to kiss a lot of frogs before you get to your prince or your king. But I really want to see some men really working on themselves, really focusing on some goals of bettering themselves, even if you don't know what your purpose is yet, or you haven't found your gift within yourself yet because you haven't sat down long enough to go within yourself to figure it out, whether it's a good voice. So that means you're supposed to be spreading the word, teaching, mentoring, motivational speaking, right? Or you're funny. Maybe you're supposed to be teaching through comedy or whatever, singing, right? Whatever it is that makes you feel good, that raises your vibrations. That means it's a passion because it's coming from within. So it's going to be vibrating at a high frequency. So that's your gift. Whatever makes you feel alive when you're doing it is your gift. And it's meant to help add value in some sort of way. If you're good with your hands, right? Find something to add value in people's lives with your hands. If you've got a creative mind, if you're good at drawing, or you're all the creative things that we don't really feed in school, we've got to learn to start doing that now, right? Because we don't necessarily have to go to school in order to learn. We don't actually learn how to refine. We don't learn about our gifts or how to refine them in school. That's why a lot of people that are awakening are starting to homeschool their kids, or not necessarily focus on going to college, right? I thought about taking some college courses, but I wasn't doing it for the degree because I'm going to be an entrepreneur. So I'm not going to work for anyone else in that sense, unless it's an independent contract, right? But if I were to go back to school, it would be to learn something that would help my purpose. Like if I'm doing these YouTube videos to make them look more professional, I might take some classes on how to do that, right? Or writing, maybe take a writing class, but you don't even necessarily have to go to school for that. I'm just saying. So anyways, this is me. I wanted to get on here. I'm getting tired now. I had a burst of energy, had energy coming through where I was starting to get a headache because of not stresses, but maybe feeling the pressures of all the things that I'm working towards, and like feeling not alone, but yeah, feeling alone. But at the end of the day, so this is therapeutic for me, right? So I had like a surge of energy that wanted to get on here. I guess my higher self led me to get on here to spread the wisdom, spread what I've learned, spread what I've been thinking about, spread what's been affecting me, spread what I've been learning, what I'm working on, what I'm working towards, to help possibly enlighten other people, to help maybe be supportive of other people, to maybe let other people know they're not alone, even though it might feel like you're alone, right? Because right now, honestly, I resonate with a lot of the motivational speakers. I was watching some videos earlier of The Rock talking about how he only had $7 to his name one time, you know, The Rock, or Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know what I mean? Like he was talking about, you know, very inspirational things of not having much, right? And having to do what you know, like not necessarily need to do, but internalizing it and using that for the greater good of yourself to succeed at whatever it is that you're going towards. And let that fuel you instead of hold you back, right? And so that I hope this helps you guys, and I hope you find comfort in knowing that you're not alone. And feel free to subscribe, like, share, watch later, comment, and I'll respond back. So don't be shy. I like to interact. So I'm going to cut it here. So thank you for tuning into Awakening Highest Potential. Thanks for tuning in. Again, I'm going to leave the Buddha Vibes shop down below because Buddha Vibes, you know, just did it, right? Taking action with courage, being bold. So I'm going to leave that link at the bottom. Also, my podcast, Awakening Highest Potentials podcast link will also be down below as well. And feel free to check out previous episodes. And stay positive, stay hungry, and stay loving yourselves. Much love. Nam myoho renge kyo. Bye.